Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. We have made it. Round 13 of the Tata Steel 2026 Challengers section. There are many players in contention, so let us look at what happened in the final round. We look first at Andy Woodward's game against Erwin. He has the white pieces and he has to push for a win. We get a Grunfeld defense. Now, the Grunfeld is interesting, right? The main line is takes. Knight takes, e4, and what you get is this position where black looks to kind of exploit this weakness. They play c5, they get the queen out, and so on and so forth. And it can be very difficult to play as white. But Andy Woodward plays knight f3, which is an interesting move. It still gives him the option of taking like this and going into that whole line, but it also kind of can lend itself to a couple of other systems. So we get bishop g7, and now h4. Now h4 is played. You can still, take here, and then, go into this with like e4 and so on. You can still do this, 100%. But h4 is just very aggressive, and now black has got to think about it. Do they play short castles and allow you to play h5, h6? Do they themselves play h5? Do they take? If you don't know the theory, it can be quite complicated. After a couple of minutes, Erwin takes. We get e4, which is the whole idea. Now we play c5, trying to undermine the center, but now d5. Interesting move, because you are opening up the scope of this bishop, but you're hoping to yourself it won't be that big of a problem. We play b5, which is an interesting idea, because if takes, you then queen a5 check, knight back to c3, but then knight takes e4, and all of a sudden you have massive problems that you cannot solve. So bishop d2, knight takes d2, queen takes d2, and now you've got like knight d7. And you're okay. If bishop takes here, then there's queen b4, causing you all sorts of headaches. And this is why the Grunfeld is so tricky. So h5 is an interesting move. So we get b5, h5. Knight takes h5, knight takes b5, queen check here, and we saw this before, but knight d7. Now bishop to d2, rook to b8, rook to b1, and now bishop a6, inaccuracy, trying to defend this pawn. It's not in the spirit of the Grunfeld. The spirit of the Grunfeld here is to castle. Get the king to safety, or play something like queen a6 to defend. Don't move the bishop out that way, because now bishop e2, queen c7, you're going backwards. The bishop has to now come this way, it has to trade itself off, and now you have to play queen f4. And what we get here is Andy Woodward plays a beautiful game. So firstly, he orchestrates the trades of the dark squared bishop. Then he doesn't trade queens, he brings his king up. He doesn't want this knight getting in here. He would rather you take and I bring my king forward. So what we get instead is now rook to b6, rook to h4, takes, king takes, and now the knight going backwards. And he plays this beautifully, he gets e5. Now where does this knight go? It's got tough choices. It can go back out to the edge of the board. It can't really take here. It doesn't work. Or you've got to go back to b8. So the choices aren't easy, so we counterattack with hitting the rook, but simply knight takes g5. We get now knight takes here, and now we come back. And now we go here, and now bishop finally takes. Rook to g8, bishop takes, rook takes, and now g3. You can't take this pawn, it's defended by the knight. I secured my structure. This pawn is a problem, your knight's uncoordinated, and your king is nowhere near helpful. My king on e3 is actually a beast. And this is a beautiful showcase of endgame technique in a Grunfeld system, where the king gets to g2, gets kicked up the center a little bit. We trade rooks when it's beneficial. We trade pawns when it's beneficial. We orchestrate pawn trades. We get check, and now we can maneuver the rook. And rook d6 is the move he was waiting for, the mistake. Knight to c5 check here, and now rook to c1. And now you're in huge problems, because yes, there's this check, but I can play king f3, you can go back, but I give you discovered check, and what I do now is really nice. I connect my rooks. Both your rooks are hanging, so I will get an exchange win, unless you can find a way to get out. You can give me check, but I go here. Your other rook is still hanging, so you can go down to d1, which is a beautiful idea, because if takes, then you take here. But I don't have to do that. I can give you a check, you can go here, check, and now knight check. Takes, takes, I win the exchange, and then I go back, rook to c1. And Andy Woodward wins. We must now go to Aidan Soleimani. Does it matter if he wins? Well, let's see. Well, does he win? Firstly, he would have had to have tried to play for a victory. So he played very provocatively in the system. But black was better. Black was better according to the engine. He gave up a huge advantage, played with a lot of risk. It wasn't a great system. He was playing what I call hustler's chess, where you accept a worse position, but you're hoping that you can still outplay your opponents and find some tricks. There were almost no tricks to be found. Ivanchuk was clinical. Check. Knight came in. Check. And he was hope against hope here, and he just lost. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I can show you that at the end of 13 rounds, when we go to Tata Steel, Andy Woodward, you can see a winning interview. He has won the Tata Steel Challengers for 2026. He will be in the Masters section next year, and it is incredible. You can see the other results. Carissa here picking up a victory, Bibisara picking up a victory, and Vasyl Ivanchuk picking up a victory. Marco Andremirci drawing with Faustino Oro, and one other draw between Erwin Rubers and Max Vomberdam. So when we look at the final standings, Andy Woodward, by half a point, wins. He was half a point ahead of Ivanchuk yesterday. Ivanchuk did all he could. He won his game. He was hoping for, Aiden and Andy to both drop points. Aiden did. He lost. Had he won his game, he would have been tied with Andy. He had to take a tremendous amount of risk, and it just didn't pay off. Ivanchuk finishes second, proving age is no substitute for experience. Absolutely incredible performance from him. And so now when we go to Andy Woodward, he can add the born in 2010, the 16-year-old this year from the United States of America, 142nd in the world, will be playing Tata Steel next year. And he had to do it quite interestingly. He lost in the first round to Bibisara. It was quite funny because this may or may not be the second take of the video, because in the first take I accidentally covered the round 1 game again. And then he lost to Ivanchuk. But look at that. He made 2 draws. Everything else was decisive. He beat Rubers. He beat Lumiere. He beat Vomberdam. He beat Panesar. He beat everybody. He drew with Aiden. He drew with... Who was that? I can't remember. Sorry. He lost to Ivanchuk and he lost to Bibisara. That was it. He beat everybody else, drew with Aiden, and drew with one other person. I feel so bad. I can't see that photo clearly. I feel really, really bad. I can't see their photos clearly. Anyway, Andy Woodward, winner of the Tata Steel Challenger section for 2026, into the Master section for next year. Incredibly dramatic final round with him winning and Aiden losing on the other board. I hope you enjoyed this series of videos. Let me know if you want me to do it next year. And I will see you soon for different content.